Have you dreamed of bigger things for your life? Then you are in the right place. Each week, you will be given tips on how to change your inner dialogue, conquer your goals, and ways to step into a higher version of yourself. I'm your host, Lauren Kubat. I'm a motivational speaker who hosts personal development events. I'm a sought-after fitness instructor, a wife, and a mom of 2 young boys. I'm obsessed with all things personal development, and I believe anyone can achieve the life they want. Let the Become Your Vision podcast be the inspiration you need to step into greater things. Now let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. You can have chosen any other podcast, but you chose this one. That came off funny. You chose this one to listen to. So thank you so much. Today I have a special guest, and we're going to get into our conversation here in a second. But before we do that, I want to remind you, if you haven't been tuning in the last few weeks, but I have the Become Your Vision Women's Conference coming up in September. If you're in the Charleston area, it's going to be in Mount Pleasant at this place called the Ion Chapel. It's gorgeous. I'll be speaking. I will have a guest speaker. There will be giveaways and workshops, and it's going to be amazing. The tagline is "Step out of fear and into fierce." It's going to be so much fun. Tickets are going to be going on sale at the end of July, so stay tuned. That's what I'm aiming for anyway, end of July. Stay tuned. You can follow me on Instagram at lauren.kubat. I'll leave that information in the show notes. Also, if you want to receive my emails, I will send that information out as well, and that will be in the show notes as well. All right, I want to get into the interview, but before we do that, also, I want to share the review of the week. You guys know, if you've been listening, that I choose a review of the week each week, every Wednesday. If I do a bonus episode on Monday, I don't, but here we are. It's Wednesday. So this one comes from Camille Isley. Thank you, Camille. Beyond inspirational. If you are a dreamer or goal-driven women, definitely subscribe to this channel and make Become Your Vision a part of your weekly listening. This podcast will not only keep you inspired, but be your motivation on days when needed, because we all have those days. Yeah, you're right. Lauren is an amazing woman with a true heart to help other women reach their full potential in life. Thank you, Camille. I appreciate it so much. If you're listening to this one, I have a special prize for you. I have affirmation cards from my Etsy store. I actually created this. I used to have them hanging on my mirror, and then I bought this thing on Etsy. It has these little what are they, like little clips, and they put these affirmation cards on there. But anyway, I will send those to you. All right, here's our interview. Today we have Pamella Inveen, and Pamella began her journey with aerial in 2009. She has continued to train with some of the country's best aerialists. Pamella was the owner and coach of Gig Harbor Aerial Fitness and Gig Harbor Yoga Fusion in the Seattle area for 10 years before moving back to Charleston, where she was born and raised. As a certified personal trainer since 1997, Pamella has a deep understanding of teaching and what it takes to support students. Pamela's gift to connect with students plays an essential role in her coaching style. By understanding the diverse backgrounds and goals of each individual, she is able to elevate classes to another level. Eye contact, body language, empathy, and humor are among some of the traits that make Pamella an effective coach. Pamella is so excited to share this incredible workout and art form with you on the Charleston Peninsula. You can be sure to receive the safest, highest quality training at Uptown Aerial. Thank you, Pamella, for being here.
You're welcome. I'm excited.
Yay. It's going to be fun. So for listeners, Pamella and I met through a mutual friend, John from Oblique Magazine. He's great. And he wanted to create this event at Uptown Aerial for people that were associated with the magazine. So we had this aerial silks class, which Pamella teaches, and I never took a class before in aerial silk, so it was my first time, but I was super excited. I would see these types of workouts on Instagram. One of my girlfriends from Chicago, she actually does aerial silks and she's very skilled in it. So I was super excited and it was so much fun, but so challenging. And one of the reasons, like I fell in love with Pam, the first time I met her because
Aw.
your energy, you have such great energy, you have a beautiful smile, you're really like interested in people, and you could tell that you really have a passion for aerial silk. So I think that's truly amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I love teaching.
Yeah.
I love teaching, and I understand it because I've been in every little aspect of the beginning, middle, end, of
Yeah.
how hard it is. And, so
Right.
I have empathy, I think.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you weren't just like going up there and like doing all these tricks. So you're like, you started with the basics, which you need to. And then I hosted, I loved it so much. I hosted one of my vision meetups, which I try to do monthly, different than the events, but and it was fun. The girls had so much fun. We were laughing at ourselves because it is so challenging, and it's something that you have to be able to just like laugh at yourself if you're not able to get something right away. But for listeners who maybe have never seen an aerial silks class, can you explain what it is?
Yeah. It's funny because there tends to be a confusing aspect of aerial arts, performance, circus, and aerial yoga.
Mm,
So it's not aerial yoga what I teach. So what I think the only thing that first thing that comes to mind and the easiest thing for people to understand is when I say, if you've ever seen Cirque du Soleil. And
mm,
we've seen them on these big long silks or ropes or whatever, and they're in the air and they're doing tricks, and it's more performance based. And
mm.
so that's where it starts, is in the circus arts. But we take it way down to a much lower level, and we learn how to just play on these apparatuses called fabric, silk, tissue. I also teach on rope. It's a soft rope, and it's called coeur de lis. And so I just do the vertical apparatuses. But you just kind of make a hammock. You can make a little swing, sit in the swing, learn how to use your core, and eventually learn how to climb and then to invert in the air and act and wrap and do tricks. And
Yeah.
so we just start from the ground up and work our way up. And it's different than yoga, where one would sit in a bigger, wider hammock type thing and do yoga asanas,
Mhm.
relax and pose and stretch. And so it's more active and dynamic, I would.
Yeah.
But you
So
do get to use those the silks and the two pieces, and you know,
yeah, it was, yeah, when the girls first got there, for the meetup that we did, they're like, you're like, go feel them, and
yeah,
kind of get
yeah,
comfortable with them before you actually start to use them. And I think that release some, tension too. It's like, oh, they're just, they're silky. So, you want to touch them. They feel good,
yeah.
they're not as intimidating as they look because you see them hanging from the ceiling and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
But yeah, once you like, just get a feel for it, it makes it less intimidating. So,
it does.
um, would you describe it as an upper body, lower body, or more core, or
Oh,
all?
good question.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say all, because
Mhm.
I don't think you use your lower body, your hips down as much as you use your hips up. So
Right.
it's more lower core. I
Hmm.
mean, just lower abs. A
Yes.
lot of that. A lot of lower ab up all the way. A lot of back.
Yeah.
So lower abs, mid abs, but back. So I
Yeah.
try to really encourage people to find those muscles in your back.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
when you hang, you want to hang with those big, large muscles in your back instead of just those tiny little muscles in the front of your shoulders,
Right.
which is what we all want to do.
Yeah.
We just want to hang with those shoulders and scrunch up, and But
Yeah.
yeah, it can be very, like going back to what you said about your group coming in, it was very, very common that people will walk in and go, oh my gosh. And they're nervous coming in. They're nervous the day before. They're nervous when they walk in the door.
Yeah.
And they just, I don't know what this is going to be about. I don't know. But by the time they leave, it's all smiles.
Yes.
Everybody's having a great time and they feel super empowered and proud,
Totally.
and
Yes.
sore the next couple days.
Yeah. Oh, yes. A lot of the women were like, oh my gosh, I was sore in places I didn't think I was going to be sore
You
for.
know,
Yeah. But
abs and back and triceps.
yes. Yes. Yeah. And then a lot of the women, well, there were, I would say, two women reached out to me and they were like, is there a weight limit? And I was like, and then I asked you, and there's no weight limit.
Oh no.
So a lot of people think they can't do something because there's a weight limit. There's also women that came that had injuries and you catered to their injuries.
Yeah.
You had a surgery on your shoulder, correct?
Oh yeah. That's that's a very predominant part of my aerial journey was my shoulder injury, because it happened only a couple 3 years, not even, after I began, and I've
Oh,
been doing this
wow.
a long time.
Yeah.
And so it really changed the course for me, if you will.
I'm sure it
I
did.
had rotator tear,
Mm.
and I will let your listeners know that this is not something that's always common, injuries. It's just a matter of knowing and understanding and learning how to take care of your body and your muscles, and to warm up properly before you begin and while you're doing it. So I didn't really know that back then when I first started. And I
Yeah.
didn't really have someone that taught me those things. So um, I've learned since then, how
Right.
to teach and coach, wellness. But anyway, I had the rotator surgery, and then 5 months later, I tore it again.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I was out for, well, at least a year, not doing
Wow.
anything, and then further after that. And I would say that that injury um, helped me become a better coach,
Right.
teacher, person, all of
Hmm.
it. I had to check my ego at the door.
Hmm.
I just began from there saying, I can't show you how to do this,
Right.
but I can explain it to you. And I'm going to lay on the floor and I'm
Hmm.
going to wrap that fabric around my body
Hmm.
and have you do the same thing for me in the air.
Yeah.
So that's how I had to teach for several years. And it was
Right.
humbling and very difficult.
I'm sure because well, and then going back to um, the people that you're instructing, I think it makes you more relatable because there are a ton of people with surgeries or injuries. So it's like, okay, she's had her own struggle too, because there were a couple women, they're like, oh, I had a
I
surgery.
can't do it. Exactly. I can't do
Right.
it because I the shoulder thing. I'm like, I know, trust me. I
Right,
know.
right. And who better to teach it because you have been right where they have been. So I thought that's huge. I think maybe a
Uh,
blessing in disguise.
yeah, it's really interesting, and it's really fascinating to me how that injury taught me more and made me stronger than
Right.
any of the strength training I could have ever done, and training
Yeah.
I could have ever done.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go back to, okay, so how did you can you explain your fitness journey, where you began and how you eventually fell in love with aerial?
Yeah. It's well, okay, well, I will start back in college. I went to the University of South Carolina,
Hmm.
and my very first, and I always was running and you know, fit, dancing, running, but I started teaching at a place in Columbia called oh my gosh, it just went out of my head just
That's
now.
okay. It'll come to you later.
Okay, it will come to, oh, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's very popular. They did
Okay.
videos and everything. Anyway, that was my first time teaching. And then I moved after I graduated from college. I went to San Francisco, and I lived in San Francisco for about 10 years.
Wow.
But I was just taking classes. And let me tell you, girl, I was the picture perfect example of 1980s aerobics. I would put on my little leotard with the really high cut legs and my slouchy socks and my Reeboks and my headband. And I would go in class every day after work, and I would jump and kick and scream and holler. And, I was total aerobic woman.
I love it.
And it was just kind of my thing. I loved it so much, but I never taught. So anyway, fast forward, had children, moved to Seattle, Washington area in Gig Harbor, where my bio said, and it's about an hour south of Seattle. And just still kept working out. But one day I just said, well, I should see if I can teach this. And so I got certified as a group instructor, and I started teaching step aerobics, the steps and the weights and everything. And that was back in 1995. And I'm almost 61. So I'm going to start saying dates that are way pre y'all's birth.
I was going to ask you how young you are. So 61. And you guys, she looks amazing, amazing, like just the energy. You're super fit and you're strong, and you put some of the people in my generation to shame, the way that you're just able to foot yourself. And
oh, gosh, girl, thank you.
You're welcome.
But anyway, so I started teaching, and I had babies too, so you understand how it is.
How many kids?
It's exhausting. I have two.
Okay.
And so my little girl was a year old when I started, maybe not even a year. And so I was really loved it, but only taught every now and then.
Right.
I eventually moved into thinking that I would rather teach people personally, because I found, and this is funny how my path set me, that teaching group classes, I couldn't help people do things the right way in a large group setting, like 30 people. And I would see somebody doing it wrong, and I would just can't stop class and go over there and work with this one.
Right.
So I thought, I think that I should do it personally. And I went in that direction, and I became an in-home personal trainer. So I started going to people's homes. Right. And traveling to their homes, and that became my my moneymaker. And so I did that for many years, and I taught at the same time. So I started my own kind of yoga fusion Pilates thing. And by the time I left and moved here, I had been teaching that for kind of like 18 years. The same class format, and it was always very popular.
Okay.
On top of the personal training and the aerial. So I was ready to semi-retire when I moved here.
Yeah, I bet that's a lot. That's draining. And on your body, your body takes a toll. And maybe do you feel like that is kind of one of the things that led to your injury, is maybe overworking your body?
Oh, I think so, for sure.
Yeah.
But the air, it was kind of like, the aerial started later, about 10, 12 years ago now. Okay. But I'll tell you my story about the aerial, because I just think that every time I tell it, I get goosebumps.
Yeah, we would love to hear it.
Well, because it might not give you goosebumps. Because it was just such a life-changing thing for me.
Yeah.
It changed my life.
I love that.
I was kind of, I was living my life. I had young children. I was teaching personal training, and I just wasn't happy. I was in this phase in my life where, from the outside, it just looked like I had everything. I had it all. I was always volunteering on top of all the work. Habitat for Humanity. I was working, volunteering at retirement homes. Running the bingo, doing just everything. And I think I was chasing that spark. you know? And I always like to refer to this phase in my life as my khaki phase.
Your khaki?
Yeah, my khaki phase, like khaki pants.
Yes. Okay. You're in khakis all the time?
I was in my khaki phase. And to know me, and you've met me, I am not a khaki wearing kind of girl.
No, totally. You're in that leotard form fitting.
Yes.
She was wearing this last time we went. I think the first time I met you, you had like a glitter like at the
I
side.
had a little rhinestone on my yeah,
That was the first time rhinestone on her eye. I was like, I love her. And then this last time, well, when you dress, it's very form fitting, but she had her little Lululemon leotard on, and I'm like, this chick, you got it, girl.
I was always colorful,
Yeah.
personality, everything,
And khaki is so not.
Hey, no way. And so it was just a manifestation of how I think I was feeling.
Right.
I was in a long, happy marriage, but we were just kind of like treading water,
Yeah.
And but I just was watching an evening magazine type of a show, a local show, one evening, and a show came on about this man who was teaching aerial arts in Seattle.
Wow.
And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it that this existed for someone to be able to even take a class.
Right.
I thought it was just for circus people and for Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can this, and I just went the next day. It was an hour away. I went the very next day, walked into that class, took that class, and it opened every door and every explosion of color for me possible.
Wow.
I have a favorite quote of mine that describes it absolutely perfectly, and it's from a novelist named Annie Dillard. And she said, I had been my whole life a bell and never knew it until I was lifted and struck.
That's
and
pretty.
That is exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
And I found it. And
Wow.
and it changed I think I took off those khakis. It was the kind with the pleats on it, the khaki with the pleats and everything.
Yeah.
Not so good.
No.
Wore my hair in a little banana clip, and not a great look. But
Yeah.
anyway, I started wearing aerial clothes and cute stuff, and it was wonderful. And
so okay, so it was an hour away. How often were you going then after that point?
Okay, so this class, the only class that I knew of, was an hour away, and it was on Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m.
Wow.
And it was on Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. So I got up every Saturday morning, and I left my house at 6:30 a.m. every Saturday morning, and I drove to that class. Wow. And the funny thing about it is that it was an hour class, and he did in 30 minutes yoga, just a yoga vinyasa warm up, and then 30 minutes of aerial. That was it.
Wow.
And I just skipped out of there like I was lighter than a feather.
Yeah.
That was it. And I drove my hour back.
Oh, wow.
And so I tell people, it's like, they say, oh, it's across the Ashley. And I think, oh, honey.
Right.
Do you want to, either you want to do it or you don't, because that shouldn't be the reason.
For sure. I totally. Hey, before we get back into the show, I want to ask you a question. And that is, are you looking for a convenient, affordable, and most importantly, fun workout that you can do wherever and whenever? Then I need to tell you about Bar Where You Are's on-demand workouts. So my girlfriend and fellow boss babe, Heather McWright, has created an amazing online platform with more than 100 different bar, yoga, and dance cardio workouts that are available at the touch of your fingertips. Whether you prefer working out at home, you're planning on going on vacation and don't want to stop your fitness routine, then Bar Where You Are is just what you need. So they have these workouts ranging from 15 minutes to an hour, and they literally have everything that you need. And lucky for you, Become Your Vision listeners are getting access to 10% off your first month. All you have to do is head to barwhereyouaresc.com/online workouts. Click subscribe now and enter promo code Become Your Vision for 10% off your first month. I will leave that in the show notes, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Now, how long were you taking classes with him until you were like, okay, I want to start teaching this, and then eventually, deciding to open your own business?
Yeah. Well, I was 48, almost 49 when I started taking classes.
Okay.
Yeah. And for my 49th birthday, my husband said, I can hang, because I love the rope, and it's the Coeur d'Alene, and it's if you look it up on Instagram or YouTube or something, just aerial rope, then you'll understand what that is.
Okay.
And but that's what I fell in love with. And my husband said, I could buy you a rope and hang it in the house.
Oh, cool.
And I do not recommend that, y'all, whoever's listening out there. I don't recommend it because it's not safe. But we had, unless you get a structural engineer to come take a look at the structure of your home. And with that being said, I will say that we had, I had a home that had huge, big open beams that kept my home up, and they were structurally very, very sound. And my husband's an ex-professional sailor, and he knows his rigging,
Yeah.
So he bought me a rope and he hung it in my living room.
That's so cool.
That was the beginning.
Wow.
The beginning. And I started playing with it, and I thought, well, you know what I can do? I can have my personal training clients come in here, and we will do some really great, workouts with this aerial stuff.
Wow.
And it just kind of kept rolling. And then I said, well, maybe I could buy some silks. I bought a set. We did the silk. And then I bought a trapeze, and then I bought a hoop. And I only had 2 points, like in the gym where you went. It's only 2 spots.
Right.
But we would just trade them out. But it was in my living room, in my house for like 11 years.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it just got bigger and bigger until we finally started having performances and shows. And one of our shows, we had 250 people come and attend.
Wow.
Out space. And yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we're having one soon,
I was going to ask you, that was one of my questions towards the end.
Later, that's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how that started. Just kind of a snowball, just kept getting bigger and more popular. And I had my injury, and it's okay. I taught on the floor, and my students got even better because their coach had to teach them from the floor.
Right. Wow. So, okay, when did you take the aerials? You're like, I need a space for this, or decide, were you back in Charleston at that time?
When I did, what was the question again?
So when did you decide to open up a business, I guess, outside of your home? Was it first in Washington and then brought it here, or?
Yeah, no, I was locked into my home. I wasn't going anywhere. I had the best situation there.
Yeah.
But no, I guess backing up the story a little bit, having been born and raised in Charleston, I missed it terribly, always and forever.
Really?
And I always wanted to come home. I always wanted to move back. And although I lived my life, raised my children in the Pacific Northwest, where I'm so glad I did. They're super rad, cool people.
Yeah.
But I always yearned for the low country.
Wow.
I missed it terribly. And my husband's job, he's a helicopter pilot. And so his work took him to a place where he said, hey, you know what? I don't have to be locked into one location. He's the one of the national relief pilots for his work. And so he said, we can live anywhere.
Right.
You don't have to live in a certain spot. And so he said, if you want to go to Charleston, we can. And I was like, are you kidding? Oh my gosh. No, I can't do that. I don't want to leave here. I have this wonderful thing going. How can I do this? I can't. But we just started playing around and looking at places and looking at houses. And honestly, Lauren, we saw this house, and I called my friend who's a realtor, and she said she would look at it, and she walked in. She said, "You have to make an offer on this. It's
Wow.
amazing." We made an offer over looking at it over the internet,
Oh my gosh.
and we came and we bought this house in
Wow.
November of 2018.
Wow.
And I told my students like 2 weeks later,
Oh,
I have to leave. And so I
yeah.
knew I was retiring from my work, and
Okay.
I was ready to retire because I got to move to Charleston. I had this dream single home that I've always wanted to have. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I quit my work,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved here, and for about a year, I cried every day.
Oh, yeah.
Happy to be here. I did not want to take it back. I was glad I was here, but I missed teaching aerial so bad it would just about kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kill me. And so then my everybody, said, you need to find a space. Just put some stuff up. Just put a couple points up. Just
Right.
play with it. Just have it for your own. And so I found Pale Horse CrossFit, which is the
Mm-hmm.
perfect spot.
Yeah.
Just the perfect spot for me, and walked in. The guy that owns it, Caleb, just said, opened arms, hugged me. Oh my God, come on, let's do this. But anyway, it just, again, it's just kind of a little snowball roll starting to happen.
That is so cool. Yes. And you have a following here now, and it's amazing that it happened quickly. But when you are doing your passion
Yeah.
and you are inspiring people, it spreads.
I've always felt like it's just kind of and I don't quite understand, the whole woo woo part of it, but I always feel like if I believe something,
Mm-hmm.
if I can see it in my head, if I can I'm not even visualizing it on purpose.
Right.
I just know it's going to happen.
For sure.
And it happens.
Yes.
Like
I couldn't
see
agree with that even more. I think that's why we mesh so well. It's like
that.
if you envision it, yes, like
Yeah.
it will happen, you know,
Yeah.
and it might not happen right away.
Yeah.
And um yeah, but eventually you'll get to that point.
Yes. Do that thing that you think you can do. It's like,
Right.
I feel it. I feel it. I
Yeah.
always knew that I could make something really awesome on this Charleston Peninsula happen with aerial arts,
Yeah. Yeah.
because everybody's super cool and young and fun and full of energy, and
Yeah.
they need it. And
Right.
so, and I'm just like, "Ah, let's
Yeah.
do it."
And it attracts all ages too,
Yeah.
because um with my meetup, there's women from all different ages. There's, in their 20s all the way to, their 60s. A lot of the women are in their 60s. And so it was cool at the meetup. It was just all different ages. You think like I don't know, what would you tell women that maybe think like they got to a certain age and they're like, well, my time has passed. What
Oh,
would you say to them?
yeah. Oh God, that's such a good question, because it really happens a lot. It happens
Yeah.
a lot. I'll have women say, "Well, I can't do that,"
Right.
and I just try to encourage them to not see. I think we see the end result and say, "I can't do that. I don't,"
Hmm.
instead of seeing the beginning step, the first steps,
Right.
the little baby steps of, oh, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try something new.
Right.
If it really doesn't feel right for me, well, that's okay. I tried.
Yeah.
And because you never know what is going to bloom
Hmm.
when you get in there, and you just have to try it and know that, you are capable of
Hmm.
every single thing. And it doesn't have to be capable of doing back
Right.
but you're capable of doing this. And
Yeah.
that's what I find in just the beginner classes in
Hmm.
aerial, sitting in that silk,
Hmm.
sitting in the silk like a swing, and lifting your feet off the floor and balancing.
Right.
People are amazed that they can do this,
Yeah.
and going upside down and spinning and holding, and they feel so good. And
Hmm.
it's a wonderful, I don't know, I just encourage women, men, everyone
Mm-hmm.
Take that step. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but
Mm-hmm.
just try.
What do you have to lose, you know?
Ooh, nothing,
Yeah,
nothing. What you have
right,
to lose is that thought of, well, gosh, I wonder if I could have done that.
right. The regret that you
Yeah.
live with.
Yeah. That's what we always taught our children.
Yeah.
And my daughter's in Bangkok and my son is in Dakar, Africa. And they are just, they're really independent, really cool kids. But
Yeah.
from the beginning, we were just like, oh my gosh, people say, oh, how could you let your kids do that?
Yeah.
And we say, how could we not let them do that?
Right.
Are you
Right.
kidding me?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about the exercise and the women in certain ages. And how
Mm-hmm.
could you not? How could you not try? Just try.
Right.
You know.
Right. I love that. So going, okay, so age, but also you've been training this woman, incredible woman. She's been on the podcast, Gina Appleby, and
Yes. Oh gosh.
she is blind. Can you tell me about that journey as an instructor? I think you made a post not too long ago. This very challenging move that she couldn't see, and you had to explain to her, but that's what you wanted her to do or try. Um, can you explain that? What it's been like to coach her?
Wow. I'm really glad you asked that question.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
Because that's I just it's really important question because she is an example of trying.
Hmm.
So just really trying something. And what she's a very fit girl. And so she's
Hmm.
very athletic and she can do certain things, but things that she can't do, she just tries anyway.
Right.
She'll say, I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try.
Yeah.
How about that, you know,
Yeah.
first of all.
Right. Right.
And but for me as a coach to coach her, and for your audience to know that they haven't heard the podcast, she is blind. I mean,
Right.
she can't see. She
Hmm.
can see light, a little light stuff, but she can't see. And it was just this last post I think you're talking about, and it's
Hmm.
climbing with her toes and going around behind the rope and pulling forward and whipping, and
Yeah.
you know that was a long journey and
Yeah.
very very hard for me,
Yeah.
frustrating for me
Right.
because I couldn't say no. See how I'm doing this,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so I would just take her hand and reach it up and
Yeah.
go with her, hold her like she is in my body, and we would move around the rope in the way in the direction that I wanted her to move.
Yeah.
And I would take her leg and we would lay on the floor and move our bodies around. And I'd hold my hand out and pretend she was holding the rope. And
Hmm.
it was hard, but it was so fun. And
Yeah.
to watch her progress,
Right. That has to be so rewarding too.
such baby steps, yes. And then
Yeah.
what's rewarding is the trust that my students have in me.
Right.
I mean, 100%. And
Yeah.
I always say, trust me,
Right.
the number one thing, because it's scary.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
scary to get up there and go upside down and to let go,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so she trusts me 100%. And so, um, yeah, it's been
That
fun.
is, that's such a beautiful like relationship because I'm like envisioning you guys. Like you have to, she has to trust, you know, yeah, you being so close to her and moving her
Oh
body
yeah.
a certain way. It's like, and she doesn't have like she's a nude model. If you haven't
Yeah.
listened to that episode, you really need to. Gina Appleby.
So good, y'all.
It was so much.
So
She
good,
just,
Lauren.
thank you. She just has such a beautiful take on life.
Oh,
And so what I'm thinking about too, like, so she's a nude mom, so she doesn't really care about like what her body looks like, obviously. And there's like a sense of freedom there. But I'm just thinking about like you have to be entwined and like touching each other and stuff. And just so you can teach, and and there's something so beautiful
Yeah.
about that, like you were saying, like there's a lot of trust that had to happen. And then from your point of view, being able to be like, okay, it took us so long to be able to get this where we were both understanding each other, and then see it come to life, that had to be like, oh, I just kind of get goosebumps thinking about
Oh,
that.
yeah, because that the exact skill that we're talking about, it's hard for people who can see.
Right.
They don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just was that I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah. And you
But
should be
yeah,
proud of yourself too.
I am. I am.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool that I could teach a blind person to climb that rope the way that she did. So
Right.
I think, well, I that's pretty good, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Good.
but I think also my students, every time they walk in the door, and every time always after class, but when they walk in the door, I hug each one of them. I look at them in
Mm,
the eye and I just say, "How are you today? Are you doing okay? And you ready for this?" And and then after class, I always text them and
yeah.
tell them that what they did great. I loved it, and keep it
Yeah.
up. Or if they had a bad day, it's okay. Next time will be
Mhm.
different. And so I really believe in that the trust that way too.
Mhm.
That it's a safe place.
Right. Because you're building a relationship outside of that. It's not just about going there and then, taking this class. It's more to that because there's a lot of mental stuff too. Like if they had a bad day prior, that could be throwing
So
them off.
yeah, and
Or
I mean, you are a coach, and
hmm
you can see it when that person walks in the door, or
hmm
if they're frustrated or they're having a bad day. And
right.
then as a coach, to say,
hmm
oh, no big deal, don't worry about it,
Right.
let's skip that stuff right now, let's move on to
Right.
something else,
Yeah.
or so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think that's why people connect with you because it's more than that. It's more than a class. Kind of going back to your husband, I think it's so cute.
Yeah.
So he was there taking photos of us, and he seems just like really supportive. He installed these ropes for you and then was like, okay, let's move. You have two kids. And so has that journey been like easy for you as far as like um creating this bond, and then also like did it fall naturally when he was like, well, I'll just take photos when you teach classes and things like that?
I feel like we've always been, well, I know we have, we're just partners. We're just
Right.
partners in everything we do.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there from the beginning. He was always just taking pictures, and he never did anything. And then one day he put down his camera, and I was trying to explain to somebody, this is back in Gig Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, I was trying to explain to someone how to do something. And he said, here, show him, do it like this. And he got up and he did the aerial trick.
No way.
And I had never seen him even up there.
Wow.
And we laugh about that all the time because he just watched it so many times that he knew
Right.
exactly what to do. So he kind of started being kind of an assistant with me.
No way.
Yes, he would teach. So he still does. He comes in, he teaches my more advanced students.
No
In
way. I didn't know
Charleston.
that.
Yeah, he teaches like bigger drops, or he can show them, help them with their form and getting into, more advanced moves. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's a great photographer. He loves to come in and take the pictures. He's really quiet. He likes to be in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Never, just always in the background. Doesn't want to be in the forefront ever.
Yeah.
But the move and this whole transition for us has been the best thing that we ever did. The
That's
best.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
Mhm.
he is super fit too.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah.
you like, and you almost, I feel like you have to be doing this type of work. But can you talk or explain to the listeners about like what do you do anything outside of aerial silks as far as exercise, and then what your nutrition looks like?
Sure. Oh, well, I would like. Well, I'm not a perfect example of great. I like French fries are my very favorite thing in the whole world.
Who
One
doesn't
thing
love French
left in the
fries?
whole world to eat, I would pick French fries.
Yeah.
But we, I have to give him credit for me being fit and to being healthy, I should say.
You have to give
Because
who credit?
my husband,
Oh, your husband. Okay.
he's always pushed me, that way. I mean, when we first met, when we were in our 20s, he said, why do you have all this, stuff in your house? And why are you eating fried? Because I'm from the South. I'm a country
Right.
girl, give me
Yeah.
some soul food.
Yeah.
That's my jam. But
Yeah.
he's just like, well, you need to eat healthier than that. But he's always been like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I do yoga for sure. But I go to a fitness class, not a fitness class, to an open gym here. And I just do weights on my own. I just work out on my own a few days a week. Because I have bad knees. Like I said, I'm 61. I've got super, super arthritic knees. And of course the shoulder thing. But so I need to do things on my own and work out my way. But I'm always doing something. And I'm always in there in the aerial gym working out with students. So that keeps me really fit. But as far as eating, we're both kind of on a no meat, but fish, pescatarian.
Yeah.
No dairy, no meat, and just healthy whole foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
And beer and wine.
Oh, well, yeah, that's whole food too.
Whole, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Right. But it's flexible in terms, where
Super
you're going to
flexible.
still
If I
enjoy
want
life.
some tater tots, I'm going to have some tater tots.
Yeah.
But
Live your life.
I will have a really good, energetic smoothie with kale and berries and, really good whole foods and lots of vegetables,
And you can definitely tell too, just by looking at you guys, that you're like, okay, they're healthy, they're taking steps outside of exercise and things like that to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So,
and we're not militant about it,
right. And yeah, you're enjoying life too, which I think
it makes it really nice.
That's the best part too. Okay. So, tell listeners too, about your show coming up.
Oh my gosh. We are so excited about this, Lauren.
Yeah.
So I start Uptown Aerial really got started the end of June last year.
Oh, wow.
It's been about a year. Well, because there was COVID. I was kind of poking around with it. I had a few personal students coming in and out, and then COVID happened, and then we stopped for about 3 months. Started getting back on a roll around June is when I started having people start to trickle in and start to take classes, and they're just getting better and better. And I just threw out there, let's do a show, let's do a show. And so now they have something to look forward to and to train for.
Right.
But we're gonna put it on November 6th.
Okay.
And it's going to be at Pale Horse CrossFit.
Okay, cool.
A great, huge, wonderful space. So my whole idea is it's a party.
Oh, I love it.
Party. So it's not going to be like, oh, gotta buy a ticket, sit down, wait for the show, and then leave. We're just you buy the ticket, you come in, you can get some wine, some beer on me.
Wow.
On me. We're going to have fun music. We're going to put on a fun aerial show. The students are going to come out and they're going to bam, bam, bam. They're going to hit these awesome tricks and performances. And then we'll move the chairs. And afterwards we can stay and dance and have a party if people want.
Oh my gosh. I am so looking forward to this.
Yeah, my thought is, okay, I just got to make sure we have enough space, because I really think a lot of people are going to want to come.
For sure.
I haven't seen there's nothing been like this on the peninsula. Maybe people go to a corporate gig or something where there's somebody that's out there doing, aerial.
Yeah.
But this is more inclusive. It's going to be just all like community, family inclusive for anybody in Charleston on the peninsula that wants to come.
So cool. I'm so excited. So where can listeners find you and be reminded of like this show coming up if they're in the Charleston area and would love to come?
Well, I think probably the best way to do that is just my Instagram, Uptown Aerial.
Okay.
And I'll just post every now and then. I have to say I'm not very good at social media. My daughter is always on me because she's a social media content manager.
Oh, wow.
But
Cool.
she said, "Oh, Mom, you need to really up your game with this social media." And it's like, I know, but
Yeah.
anyway, just look at Uptown Aerial, and
Okay.
I'll post little videos of students, and then I'll mention the show, or I'll put a little flyer up or something.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it'll be out there if they at
Okay.
least look at it, Instagram.
Perfect. I'm excited. So Uptown, and I'll leave all of that information in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. It was so
Yay.
fun. You're
Yay.
so
I'm
easy
so
to talk to.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I just try to make it. Well, Pam was before. I was like, "Would you like to come on the show?" She's like, "I'm not really into these kind of things. I get kind of nervous," which I found so shocking, but also comforting because I look at you when you teach and everything. You're so confident and you still have your things that make you nervous, and I think that makes you real, but it's just a conversation, and
Yeah.
then you were completely down for it.
Well, I have total imposter syndrome.
Oh my God, doesn't ever it's such
I
a
mean,
thing.
I suffer greatly through that. It's just
Yeah.
I always think, God, how could I get over this? But I don't know
Yeah.
if I think that people just do.
Yeah, you think like, why me? Or, why do people think I'm this
Yeah.
or that?
God,
Or
one day they're going to find out I don't know what in the hell I'm doing.
exactly, for sure. Everybody. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you said that because I think so many people suffer from that. But no, you're truly amazing.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank
yeah, if you
you.
like this show, make sure that you tag Uptown Ariel and myself. Let us know what you loved about the show. Leave a review. Let me know that you love Pam. Maybe we'll have her on again. And remember, guys, you got this. Have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you love this episode, make sure you are subscribed so you know when more episodes come available. My goal is to inspire others to become their vision, and one way to get the word out is with reviews. I would really appreciate it if you left an honest review on iTunes, and it would mean so much to me. Thanks again, and remember to go after the life you want. Bye, guys.